Hey everybody, welcome. We are watching the 2022 tabletop simulator Dune Imperium with the Rise of Ix expansion, sponsored by Artificery. This is Table 1, Round 2, and everyone is getting their seats, which I assume are also randomly distributed, and then we're going to be choosing a first player and picking in reverse player order, so I'm very excited to be casting this game for you, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm getting all shuffled up and everything, so we will have a bird's eye view of everything to happen here in this game. The first Imperium, or the Imperium row flop here, we have Appropriate. It's a great card for the for Yuna and also for Ilban. We have In the Shadows, which is excellent for Ecaz, who can pick it up very early. Power Play, just generally a great card. We have Freighter Fleet, also good for Ecaz, but for anyone who wants to just reveal for some shipping. And Chom Delegate, which isn't a delegate, which is a decent card with the infiltrate icon, so it can go to yellow spaces no matter what. We have a fourth pick, Paul Atreides. So it looks like OMANT is going to be starting out. So we have a fourth player, BlackShadow, picking up Atreides, which is great. I like to see Paul in the fourth position. I think he does pretty well. I used to think he was like not so great in fourth, but I think he's actually a good fourth pick because he does not require you to go to a specific space to gain his benefits, such as Ilban does, or Romber, or even Ecaz, or Yuna. So that's a great pick. Third position, we have AgentOfZion picking up Archduke, Armand Ecaz. One of the most picked characters in this tournament, I have to say. We're likely to see a Baron Harkonnen for second or first, and maybe an Ilban for first or second. Those are the two of the other major players. Also, a Leto or a Raban would be a good choice here. All of these are very good characters. Really, the only characters that I find that are difficult to choose are maybe the fourth position and the first position. So we have an Ilban in second position. I think that's pretty strong. He's very strong in second position. Not as strong as he was in the base game, but I still think he's great. You get the pick of the litter, whether you're going to go to Fold Space or to Wealth early on. Both of these spaces are something that Ilban wants to go to. He wants to go to Fold Space in order to turn on the shipping track, the interstellar shipping. So that is good. We're going to get a Leto first pick. That's exciting. I like to see Leto in first position. It's a little bit weird sometimes if he doesn't get the ability to trigger his ring, but that's what we're going to have here. And all right, so AgentOfZion's already drawn. We've got a Dagger, Diplomacy, Dune, Convincing Argument. So pretty solid opening. This is a good hand. This is actually a good hand for Leto. You don't really want your ring first. You actually do want the dunes and the desert planets, and also the daggers. So this is a great Leto hand because you could reconnaissance, or you could dune desert planet to the smuggling space, and then take your Mentat initially for one, because he can take a Mentat for just one Solari, which is great. So that's a very strong position to have, especially with this draw. And you're going to get your ring next round, so you'll have the ability to even get some spice maybe with your ring and then trigger it. Ilban also has a good hand. These are great hands. Nothing really standoutish as abysmal. Everyone has kind of what they want. Leto is going to have a pretty good buy as well, so that's good. What else do we have? Ilban has kind of a low buy, but he's got the Seek Allies, so he'll be able to pretty much go wherever he wants. Diplomacy and Seek Allies in round one. Not always what the Count wants to be doing, but that's okay. And Ilban doesn't have his ring, which might be the only downside with right now in this hand, is that Ilban doesn't have his ring to pick up In the Shadows, which you really want to get going as fast as possible. But we'll see what they do. All right, so Leto's first action, Dune Desert Planet, over to Smuggling, called it. It's just going to be what you expect from Leto, being able to trigger his Mentat right away, or trigger the Mentat right away. And we've got Wealth for Ilban. Ooh, actually, or Fold Space. This is the question, do you go to one or the other? And I'm not sure there's a better answer at the moment. I think Fold Space narrowly edges it out, although having the Wealth gives you the ability to next round go for Mentat, which you will immediately be able to get because you'll be first player. And that sounds like a very solid play for Ilban. And we're going over to Ecaz. What does Ecaz have here? We've got a diplomacy to fold space. Yep, that seems pretty reasonable. I'm going to try to turn on that interstellar shipping space as fast as possible and may be able to do that. And we've got water for Paul. It's a great start. All these players are playing very well. They know the ins and the outs, the best spaces. It looks like Paul is initially thought to throw a couple of these, or okay, decide to throw the correct color in. Yep. So Paul's throwing 2 cubes in, 2 troops in for a total of 4 strength, and when he reveals, he's likely going to have 5 with his 1 dagger. So very unlikely anyone else is going to challenge that for the first skirmish, which is just an influence and a spice. I think that that's a reasonable pay for an influence and a spice over 2, and you're kind of pushing it. But we'll see if anyone wants to be a little bit tricky in round 1 and go for a contest. And it is over to Leto. So now Leto's plays to Mentat, which is going to draw him a card and let him probably buy that power play, which is something he really, really, really wants. OMANT would love to pick up that power play. He's also considering here a reveal, an early reveal for the In the Shadows and Chom Delegate possibly, or a Arrakis Liaison and In the Shadows. We'll see what happens here. My guess is that he's going to Mentat. Or he could head up to the tech negotiation space, which is also great. We need to take a look at these this tech out here. I have not done that yet. So we have flagship, something that's great, but not great early. It's worth a point, and you spend 8 spice for it, and it lets you just get some troops for $4 for Solari. Oh, okay, interesting. So he's taking a different tack here. He's going to go to Carthag and actually try to contest this. Okay. I think that if you are Lita or if you're Paul, you probably are okay with this. Getting 2 spice for 2 troops is reasonable. I don't know about 3 troops for 1 spice and 1 influence, though. That's a little challenging to do the math on. I don't really think that works out in their favor, but it's okay, and maybe it'll work out for them. All right, and Ilban is going to reveal early for 4, which I find interesting. Could have definitely gone to Mentat because I thought it was going to be taken by Leto, but it wasn't. Oh, and they'll get the Ix Guild Compact, which is always nice to have. Ix Guild Compact plus the Chom Delegate gives you a couple of good icons. The Spacing Guild and the Desert Planet or Chom spaces. Those are great. So he's just deciding whether he wants that or maybe the In the Shadows. I would take the In the Shadows, to be quite honest. It's better. Although, if he gets the In the Shadows and the Ix Guild in the same round, or in the next round, that would be just as good. We'll see what Wooklee is going to be doing. Wooklee is going to be taking the Ix Guild Compact, which lets you discard 2 cards for a Dreadnought. So we might see some Dreadnoughts in this game. That's pretty sweet. Up pops Chom Directorship, a very well-known 8-coster that gives you an influence in every faction, and only a reveal of 3 Solari, but it's always good to have when you can get it. And now we've got Ecaz. Now that Ecaz can see that this combat would not favor him, I don't think he was planning on going in anyway. He's probably going to try to either hit up some spice. We didn't finish taking a look at these. We have troop transports, also very good here. And since Ecaz is already going to fold space, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ecaz go to Haga Basin and then get 2 spice and then head up to troop transports next round. There's also a detonation devices here, which lets you, when you win a conflict, if you trade it, you can trade in your dreadnoughts for a point. However, we see a move up to tech negotiation. I think this is a really great play. Tech negotiation is the space that replaced Hall of Oratory from the base game, and it basically is the same thing, but it also lets you potentially buy tech or put down a negotiator, and the tech negotiator lets you it counts as a discount for spice whenever you buy it next or whenever you want to cash it in for that. Oh my gosh, and we've got BlackShadow going in for the full 4 troops in this combat. they're going to, wow, I don't know, maybe they might not win this. I see why Leto wanted to win this, but we'll see. Ultimately, we know that if Leto wants to play their combat card, they're going to ultimately not win, and so it won't really benefit them. I think they're going to be a little sad they pushed into this combat so early, but we'll see. I also think the Paul player is probably playing a little bit too aggressive early on. I don't know why they need this extra influence this bad when you could easily go for some spice and try to get some troop transports or detonation devices, go for a different tack, do something else, or turn in that spice for a reproductive, selective, or selective breeding. It's reproduction, select, French, I guess. Yeah. All right, so we've got a reveal for Agent of Zion, and he's going to pick up Appropriate, solid, especially if we're going to be hitting up the shipping track a lot and getting a lot of Solari. It is a great, great buy. And a reveal for 4 for BlackShadow for Paul. And 1 battle, 1 strength. Ooh. All right. Yep, so we're going for Arrakis Liaison and also the other shipping card, which I cannot see, the Freighter Fleet. Apologies, guys. And we're going to combat, and I highly doubt that Leto is going to play their card here. That would not be really great for them. I think they're just going to take second place and be happy with it. I don't think it actually benefits you to make Paul take 1 more spice and 1 less influence in this early in the game. Other than just to spite them. So I think it'd be a little too much. So I think they're discussing it, or he's thinking about it. That's it. They're going to take it. Okay, so BlackShadow's going to get first place, the influence and spice. Leto's going to get 2 spice. And then we are going to move to the next round. We seeded the spice. And the next conflict is raid stockpiles. Raid stockpiles. What happened? There we go. Raid stockpiles. 1 intrigue card and 3 spice for first place, 2 spice for second place, and 1 spice for third place. So this one actually looks a little bit better than the last. For first place, I would probably have preferred this one to the previous one. I generally don't go in for first combats all that much unless I really wanted that extra influence. Like, for instance, if I really wanted to get that extra influence in the shipping guild so I can go to interstellar shipping, and I was in position to do that, but I don't think that Paul was really in position to do that. So here goes Ecaz going straight to fold space, getting the extra point for the spacing guild, and also opening up the interstellar shipping for their next action, which they will be able to do with this signet ring. Anything else that they can pick up here? They've got a scout potentially, but I'm guessing they're just going to pick out an Arrakis Liaison with their ring here. All right, and Paul is going to ring over to Haga Basin. I'm sorry, ring over to Smuggling. I can tell colors. We had an early Haga Basin from Ilban, so Ilban went over to the Haga Basin. Decided also not to throw anyone in the combat. I bet might be regretting it a little bit right now. Yeah, probably. And now if Leto takes the Mentat, which is very likely, takes a Mentat, draws a card, they want to shuffle their deck around too. So like if you were ideally trying to keep your deck separate, if you like your hand and you like your discard pile, you want to shuffle on every even turn. Every turn that you can, you would essentially put all your cards back in your discard pile and reshuffle and draw. So if Leto really wants to, for instance, keep these 6 cards together, or more or less those 6 cards together, they should probably think about drawing with the Mentat here. Otherwise, if they don't care, then they might consider playing something else. Probably using a ring either way, maybe to Arakeen or Carthag. So we'll see what they choose. They have the ability to go up for some of these techs here, the detonation devices and the troop transport. Not quite immediately able to capitalize on that shipping track, although pretty close. I mean, you know, it can just take a round, especially with Leto being able to move up that shipping track really fast. Still deciding. I think he's deciding on whether to go to the Fremen, Hardy Warrior still suits, or to Secrets. You might also consider Wealth here because having the extra money for the Mentat every round is pretty strong. Also, foregoing the Mentat right away gives Ilban the chance to use it, and I think this is going to be a dagger to the Mentat, and we're going to see Ilban draw some cards. That's what they want to be doing. Yep, so Leto's going to go up on the Fremen, get some water, and maybe throw a guy in there. Or he's taking it back. Okay, he's going to take it back, and he's going to go up to Hardy Warriors instead, get two troops, and potentially throw some troops in here. Very aggressive play from OMANT right now, which is you know, possibly very good. It might pay off. It's always difficult to tell this early in the game whether going in early for combats benefited you or not, but we'll find out in a little while. Oh, and look at this. Okay, so Ilban's actually going to be going right away. Is he going to go to some Dreadnought? Let's see some Dreadnought play. I'm really excited. I want to see some Dreadnoughts. I think the smart play is Mentat, drawing 2 cards, possibly even going to the tech negotiation space afterwards. Okay. So it looks like we're going to get Dreadnought plus detonation devices. Solid play, solid play. So the detonation devices would let him get some extra points. He's deciding. All right, and Wooklee is going to get that. I think this is a smart buy. We get the Dreadnought in, we get the detonation devices, so we have an engine. We have a potential, point engine here. But now we just have to win some combats. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. Agent of Zion's turn, and again, good hand here for him. I think he's probably thinking about whether he needs to just go straight to... He can't go to the Mentat, so I think he's just going to go up to the shipping track. I mean, what else are you going to do, right? Go up and down, maybe? Or go both up? Yep, up twice. Okay. He's probably eyeing the newest tech that came out, Restricted Ordnance, which is incredibly powerful. Gives you 4 extra combat strength if you have a high council seat, and it only costs 4. That's not hard to get. And the good Armand usually wants to have a high council seat. I think it's generally in his best interest. So you can build him any number of ways. You can build him strength or for persuasion. Okay. So we had Paul play Dagger to the tech negotiation space and purchase this here troop transports. Whenever you recruit troops from the shipping track, recruit an additional troop, you may deploy any of them to the conflict. Very strong tech. All of these techs are strong. None of them are really bad, but this one's very good. If you can hit that shipping track like 2 or 3 times a game, that's 3 extra troops for 2 spice. That's a good return on your investment, and it lets you put them directly into the conflict in a space you would otherwise not be able to. So very strong there. I like that play. And now we have Leto's play, and Leto should probably be considering taking the Mentat 100%. I don't see what else you're going to be doing with your time. Going to get 2 spice from Imperial Basin, I don't even think that's worth it, because you might even be able to do that if you draw the right card. So let's go. Let's see what he's going to do. I think Mentat's correct, but Imperial Basin, I guess I wouldn't be too worried about. Ooh, interesting. Okay, Carthag. Okay. Just going straight for aggression here. You know, again, this might pay off. It's hard to say. I always feel that Leto taking the Mentat is like a spoiler almost for Ilban, and he wants to do that as much as possible. They're going to be fighting over that a lot. We'll see what happens in the next round. With Agent of Zion being first position, Leto's going to have another chance. Okay, Ilban has a pretty good reveal. He's got 2 tech negotiators with the Ix Guild Compact. He's got a Dune Desert Planet, Reconnaissance, and a convincing argument for a total of 4 persuasion. And so he's going to pick up a Arrakis Liaison and another one. And we're going to see Agent of Zion reveal for 3. Okay. And BlackShadow is going to reveal for a total of 4. And is going to pick up, or 5, I'm sorry, for the tech negotiation space. He's going to pick up the Sardaukar Legion. Still a strong card. Was very strong in the base game. Probably better now, just because having the access to green spaces is slightly better than it was. The reveal for OMANT for green is going to be 3. And he might be eyeing this Imperial Spy here and the Scout. I know he likes to play Scout. But Imperial Spy, decent card. Not always something you're overly thrilled about getting, but not a bad pickup either. Yep. So get that, and we'll see if he's going to buy the Scout. Would I might do it. It's not bad. It's better than your base cards. Yeah, okay. And now it looks like green's just going to win the combat since someone else is in it. And that's all she wrote for this round. We have a calculated hire, an instant Mentat for OMANT. What's going on here? Why did they get take 2? Did I miss something? I see. Okay, so he had missed taking the intrigue card from Carthag when he went there. Got it. Got it. Whoa. Okay, that's correct. So now our new combat is Siege of Carthag. We get someone hit the next round button twice. Agent of Zion is going to be first player here. And not super thrilled with his hand, I'm sure. We have a buy of 4. But honestly, okay, the best thing here is that he's going to be able to go and hit that smuggling, get 6 money. He's going to cash in here for cash in some spice for training drones, a great pickup, revealing an artillery. I think this is a great tech. It's very, very easy to get, especially if you are going combat. We don't know who really is invested in combat quite yet. No one's leaning that heavily one way or the other, although we can definitely see that OMANT has some combat potential. I think, though, if I was OMANT, I would probably not play the calculated hire and probably just use my ring to go to Mentat action 1. Because, I mean, as long as Paul doesn't take it. It doesn't look like Paul will here, although his hand is a little bit garbage. He might try to draw just to get something better to play. Man, that is awkward because now we have no way to get to factions, and we really need to, round 3, get to some faction spaces to get that interstellar shipping going, especially, but also just to get to 2 Fremen influence, so you can open up Siege Tabor, things like that. Nevertheless, Wooklee seems like he's ready to go and has his choice already made, so that's a very, very bold choice. We'll see. So Armand is looking pretty strong right now. The reason being, they'll be able to go up and get interstellar shipping for more money, and then next round be able to get the Swordmaster High Council, or we could just go for High Council right now. So going for an early High Council could be the play. Also, if he just wants to have an extra chance at getting this combat, he's got a lot of troops sitting in his garrison. Agent of Zion might consider doing a draw for a combat space card and then playing that combat space card if they get it. If not, they might just go to maybe like tech negotiation or something like that and pick up that artillery. Lots of options. We see Paul heading over to reconnaissance to Carthag. Noticing the players favoring Carthag this game to Arakeen. Arakeen, of course, gives you a card and a troop, whereas Carthag gives you an intrigue card and a troop. Usually the intrigue cards on average are better than drawing a card, but Arakeen is sometimes nice to have because it can guarantee you the thing you need. Interesting. Okay. Leto not going for the Mentat. I'm still surprised at this. It's not a bad idea to get that artillery. Now we can see that Leto is definitely working at artillery, going for some combat, and this is definitely going to pay off for them since they've been very, very combat centric the entire game for the first 2 rounds, getting second place in the first round and first place in the second round. Pardon me, and then using the Signet Ring ability to move up on the shipping Spacing Guild track to get access to interstellar shipping. You can definitely see their plans kind of falling into place, especially with Leto and Ecaz. Ecaz with the access to interstellar shipping earlier, but now Leto with a round 1, action 1 access to interstellar shipping on round 4. Now we've got Ilban, who had to pick back up his diplomacy because they weren't sure what they were going to do. Now might be thinking of, that Imperial Basin with some 3 spice might be kind of good. They're going to go to still suits. Okay, get some water. Put some guys in. Wants to win this combat. Really wants to win this combat. And is looking likely to win this combat. Unless, yes, looking likely. Unless, I guess Paul decides to suddenly get aggressive, but I don't think they're going to have enough. I like this play from Ecaz. I like this play from Agent of Zion to draw this, the battle space card, going for the Mentat to draw that card, give them a chance to win this combat. That would be able to let them play spoiler here, potentially. And with the 1 water, they're not going to be going into any of the spice spaces just yet. They're looking at that interstellar shipping, and they're going to try to hit that as much as possible. Siege Tabor for Paul, which sends 2 troops into the battle, or 1 more troop into the battle. And unfortunately had to give up Paul picked up a Counselor's Dispensation. If you have a high council seat, gain 2 spice. Okay. Not helping him right now, but it will in the future. Potentially letting him snipe a Highliner space when somebody did not think they could do that. That's always fun. Leto right now is looking at the interstellar shipping space and is thinking, should I do that now? Or am I going to get it first action next round? Well, it's probably worth doing now, I think. Namely because you can go all the way up and then you can hit either smuggling or interstellar shipping action 1, round 4. He's doing a little bit of math here. Will he be able to go into the combat? He could potentially win this combat too. So there's a lot of interesting choices here for Leto. One of the more difficult ones is if they don't go to Imperial Base and take 3 spice, which might be the correct play, because 3 spice for 1 card and no other cost is very strong. They potentially could win this combat with all of the daggers they have in hand. He's going to reveal. Okay, so we have a reveal for 6, 7. Picks up the Treachery. Very powerful new card from Rise of Ix. Gain 2 influence instead of 1, then trash this card just like Power Play, but it has an unload effect to deploy these troops to the conflict. You get 2 troops for it when you reveal it or trash it or discard it, and they immediately go into the conflict. Also a good play. That is a solid buy. All these players very well acquainted with the cards they should or should not be picking up. Some things we should note here is that Gurney Halleck showed up. Gurney's still one of the strongest cards in the game, despite the fact that a lot of the newer cards are a little bit on the stronger end. And Ilban is just going to make sure that they get it. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 power. And that's going to seal it for Ilban. He'll be able to trade in his Dreadnought for a point. I'm not sure if he's going to do that yet. Looks like he is. Detonation devices. We're thinking about it. He's thinking about it. So he went up and picked up some spice at the Imperial Basin, of course. That was the one that had accumulated 2 spice since the last 2 rounds. It's interesting how in Rise of Ix, the planet spaces accumulate spice a little bit longer than they did in the base game because there's so many other things to be doing in the Imperium, going up to the shipping track and going to Ix and so on, whereas before you kind of needed that spice in order to turn it into Solari. Now you kind of don't. Now you need the spice for tech and for the faction spaces later on. It just shifts your focus where Dune, the desert planet, becomes more of a mid-game, early mid-game strategy versus an early game strategy. We have a reveal from BlackShadow. Is going to pick up another Arrakis Liaison, looking to be a persuasion build entirely based out of the Fremen faction with Arrakis Liaisons. I think that's the 3rd one they've picked up. Probably going to want to call some of these daggers out of their deck for the last half of the game, but we'll see what they do. And we have a reveal from Ilban. This Chom Delegate already being so good for them. Another Arrakis Liaison here. We're going to run out of Arrakis Liaisons. We already have 2 left. The Chom Delegate, obviously, when revealed or unloaded, gives 3 Solari, and who better to use that than Count Ilban Riches? Ecaz is going to trash this here dagger. The dagger is out of the play, and we are going to buy 4. And the only things available are Arrakis Recruiter, Scout, and possibly Arrakis Liaison, and the Archduke graciously declines. And now we're going to combat. Everyone has revealed. And we'll see if Well, there's no combat on either side. We'll see if Wooklee is going to cash in this detonation devices right away. Looks like they will. Or no, looks like they'll just take a point. We'll see. They're going to do it. Yep, okay, cool. They are going to go up 2 points then. 1 point for the detonation devices and 1 point for the combat. And, of course, now they have a banner at Carthage. And now we have Paul with a very, very juicy first play to the Great Flat for 6 spice. I don't see how he passes that up, quite honestly, especially with the newly drawn Water of Life from the last conflict. The new conflict is Sort Through the Chaos, which rewards you with the Mentat for the next round, some Solari, and an Intrigue card. A very good one to have, especially if you're a little bit short on money and can't purchase the Swordmaster. But I think we're going to see Armand Ecaz going for Swordmaster this round, and we'll probably see Ilban going for a High Council seat somewhere along the way if they don't go for Mentat this round. It's looking like a Mentat or High Council play. I don't know what's being discussed at this moment. It should be Paul's play. I should say it should be BlackShadow's play. BlackShadow is going to Dune Desert Planet to get that juicy spice at the Great Flat. Doesn't have any troops, though, to throw into this conflict, though I'm not sure they're really too pressed about that. At the moment, there's a lot of time to rebuild. Now that they have 7 spice, next round, they have 9 cards in their deck, so they have a 5 out of 9 chance of drawing their diplomacy card. I'm not sure. I don't think Paul has picked up any other access cards, which could be a problem going forward with you having about a 14 card deck and only 1 access card, or 2 rather. I guess the Sedekar Legion counts as an access card. It does, but not for Highliner. We have a very strong hand for Duke Leto, and we're likely to see here a dagger for the Mentat. Yeah. Seems wise at this point. This is a setup turn. Most people don't go full in for this Sort Through the Chaos, what I've seen. Oh, we're going to have a High Council for Ilban. That's solid. I mean, that makes sense. And looks like we're going to have a Swordmaster for Ecaz. Maybe. We'll see. You might also have some other plans, maybe for this Appropriate, to go and pick up that extra point. So, yeah, there are lots and lots of options for Ecaz. We'll see which path they choose. Looks like we're going to fold space up to the Interstellar Shipping. Yep, and draw a card. Seems solid. Let's see what he gets. Gets another fold space. Wow, okay. Some good turns for the Leto player, the Ecaz player, and even for Paul right now. Ilban's having a bit of a rough hand. It's an okay hand, but it's a good buy hand. So if Ilban also decides to go up to like tech negotiation this round, we're likely to see a Gurney buy. Paul's going to head over to Conspire, a space in the Emperor track that actually has gone up in value. Now that's a way for you to spend your spice. That gets you more Solari. So it's a quick way to get a lot of Solari. If you end up stockpiling spice from the Great Flat or Haga Basin, does a lot of work for you now. And Leto is going diplomacy to wealth. I imagine that Leto's even going to go in for combat in the last action, at least for one troop, because a one troop for a first place is not terrible, although they don't have the restricted ordnance online just yet. All right, so Ilban is going to go up to the tech negotiation like I suggested, or hinted that he might, and picked up the disposal facility. Disposal facility is a tech that costs 3 spice, gives you a trash right away, and if you have 6 or more persuasion in play, persuasion, you may trash 1 card in play. So this is a very good card. If you get it very early in the game, you're almost like you're an Armand Ecaz from the get-go, and I think this is early enough that you'll see a strong return on this card, especially since we're going to see a buy of 6 here, a Gurney Halleck, technically a buy of 7, but there's nothing for 7 at the moment, isn't there? Oh no, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, I did not see. That's right. He picked up a High Council. So this could be a buy for a Spice Must Flow this early. I don't know. You could go Spice Must Flow and trash it. Just get it out of your deck immediately. Oh, no, you can't do that because it's in play. So you can buy Spice Must Flow and then trash something else like the Dagger. Or I think I just get Gurney. Honestly, I think it's so good. You can also get Chome. I'm not sure what Ilban's going to do. Maybe Ilban feels a little behind on the tracks and wants to go up with Chome. In the meantime, we saw a fold space to the Swordmaster. Entirely expected. We are going to see Water of Life from Paul and a buy of 6, 7, 8, getting the Chome. Never mind. That looks like that has been done. Paul's going to go up a point. And now we have a choice with Leto, whether he's going to use his last agent. Or whether he's going to reveal. There's not a whole lot left for Leto. You could go for a Dreadnought, but excuse me, but forego getting a tech from Ix. It's usually not great. You want to get this space, you want to use this space to its full potential usually, and that's what I've seen, is that people don't want to go there unless they can also buy a tech. So we'll see if he decides to go get a Dreadnought. There aren't a lot of other options for Leto. A reveal of 3 is kind of awful because it means you can't purchase the newly revealed Firm Grip, and you don't really want to put a bunch of Arrakis Recruiter Scouts in your deck late game, mid-late game. We're in round 4. So we've got play to our Arakeen to try and draw a card. He's looking and seeing what he can get here, and I think that's wise. I think the one thing you don't want to see is the Dagger, of course, but you're hoping to hit a Argument. Argument would be the best pull. Oh, that's also a good pull. Also a good pull. Doesn't get you the purchase you wanted, but that's okay. Guaranteeing this combat is fine, although you were going to guarantee it anyway, unfortunately. That is actually kind of awkward now that I think about it. So, all right. Ilban picks up the Spice Must Flow with 9 persuasion. That does surprise me a little bit. I was expecting them to start buying Spice Must Flow a little later. There's still some great cards out here. You could pick up Firm Grip and Gurney Halleck almost, right? I guess not quite. He had 9, so not 10, but you could pick up a Power Play and a Firm Grip. You could pick up a Gurney Halleck and maybe just a Gurney Halleck. I'm not sure. But he opts for the Spice Must Flow, and I respect that play. Agent of Zion is going to go to Haga Basin, looks like. Nope, Second Thoughts. Yes, Haga Basin, getting the 3 Spice. Now might be eyeing some Spice up here. Artillery and Shuttle Fleet are both quite good. Now that a couple of their cards they had earlier are no longer turned on, so appropriate can't be used for its Solari ability, but he's foregoing that anyway, so that's okay. I don't think that's a big deal. I'm gonna buy for 6 anyway and get Gurney. I think Agent of Zion knows the power of Gurney Halleck. It looks like what they're gonna pick up. And a little bit unfortunate for Agent of Zion, though, seeing the treachery in hand from Leto, the 1 in 9 or 1 in 6, excuse me, draw for the treachery, which is going to seal that for OMANT. Not too bad though, walking away with 2 Solari and an intrigue card. That doesn't sting too bad. It would have been nice to get the Mentat next round. I don't know if this is worth 4 troops again, but you know, it doesn't mean it isn't worth that much. I would like to see in the next round Leto hitting up the High Council right away. And Test of Humanity revealed after the purchase of a Firm Grip by Agent of Zion. Surprising. I'm surprised that they did not pick up Gurney Halleck a little bit. But obviously Firm Grip, a very strong card that lets you catch up in other factions when you are a little behind. And if you have the Alliance, you can just buy for 4 Persuasion. Very strong card. So not surprised. Either one is a fine choice. All right, and looks like OMANT is going to win this combat and get the Mentat for next round, 2 Solari and an Intrigue card. And Agent of Zion is going to get 2 Solari and an Intrigue card, and just be happy with that. I think that's a fine pickup. Picking up the Ixion Probe as well. It must be nice to see that also in your hand instead of potentially in OMANT's hand, because of the interaction with In the Shadows and Treachery. A guild authorization for OMANT, so that can potentially play spoiler later on for the Alliance. Let's see, Agent of Zion with a very strong hand picks up the Firm Grip. Wooklee with a also strong hand with a Diplomacy, potentially high buy hand we're looking at there. Paul with also a strong hand, Seek Allies. The Seek Allies has not been played yet. We'll see how that works out. Freighter Fleet available. So red potentially able to go up 1 with Smuggling, and then Freighter Fleet trigger during the end of a round, during a combat. Or, sorry, reveal. The Signet Ring also just great to see. I'm expecting Leto to go immediately to High Council here. If they do not, then my suspicion is they're still setting up for more alliance, that they're still eyeing the alliances. I could see OMANT trying to go to Wealth here, pick up a point, get an Intrigue card. Although right now, the Imperial Spy, I think, does more for you as a card in hand, potentially, if you're trying to win a lot of combat. We'll see. They've already got 4 Intrigue cards, so he's going to have to be very careful here that he does not get one stolen away from the secret space. And I know that Wooklee would be more than happy to just yank one of those cards out of his hand. some deep tanking here from OMANT, but I think that this is a very pivotal turn, not an easy one by any stretch of the imagination. You might be thinking that heading over to the Imperial Basin to get some spice to trigger the ring is also a good play here. You could trigger your ring, go up with the Spacing Guild, then play the Spacing Guild. But he's not going to do that. He's going to go... I think that would probably be a better play here, is going to Imperial Basin, taking the spice, going up in spacing, hitting guild authorization, and then getting 3 more Solari, getting the point. I think this is also a fine play, and this also does the same thing. I guess technically you could go up in the Spacing Guild as well. It just gets you 2 troops. So let's see what he chooses. It's going to go up with the Emperor. Okay. He's going to take 5 Solari. And he better play this guild authorization right away. I mean, these players all know how dangerous it can be to lose an intrigue card, and so I assume he's just going to play it right now. It's the only one that he can play. He's going to be giving up a little bit of information doing this, and it won't be secret anymore, but you just have to do it. Or maybe he's going to reconsider. Aha, there's that play I was talking about. Here's the guild authorization. Going up, getting a point, getting $3. Yep. And now Leto is not want for Solari for the entire rest of the game. I think that's probably the best play in this situation given what is in hand, but I like the choices here of using interstellar shipping to block that space as opposed to going to Imperial Basin, although I think that space is going to be taken by somebody. Leto or OMANT might also have been thinking that if Ecaz did draw the firm grip, he could have blocked him by going to wealth, so that might have been the first choice, and that might have been why. All right, Ilban's choices here, all of them are good. Getting some spice, going shipping is fine. It's not ideal, but it's fine. Could go shipping and then do... what else? I don't know. I think you want to hit some sort of faction track this round. Okay, shipping, yep. So going up with some Solari here. And then what's the next play? Probably diplomacy to selective breeding, perhaps. He's sitting on 1 water, so the Hardy Warriors is available if he really wants to try to contest this, although Ilban right now is not looking like the kind of player who wants to be contesting too many spaces or too many combats, but rather building towards a spice must flow victory condition. And they really want to hit, I think, that selective breeding in order to guarantee a 9 buy. So we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 right now. So I think the next play is probably diplomacy to selective breeding. We'll see if anyone tries to block him there. This is kind of telegraphed a little bit by the fact that they had already seen a Spice Must Flow played, or bought, perhaps. He's the only one with the High Council seat, and an early round 4 Spice Must Flow usually signals that you're going to be trying to cull bad cards out of your deck from selective breeding. So here's the Imperial Basin play for Ecaz. I think this is solid. Going to exhaust his drones and throw 3 troops in. Pretty good, I would say. That opens up the firm grip play next action. Firm grip also could potentially just go to... No, I guess that's all it could do. You can only go... I mean, you really want to go to wealth here. wealth plus you could try to contest the spacing guild. It's possible. Paul is going to jump down to still suits, get a water for still suits, a water for taking that first space on the Fremen track, get the alliance token, and then throws 2 troops into conflict. Paul's build is not really conducive to, I should say BlackShadow's build. It's not really conducive to a combat heavy play. But I think if you can, and this is almost a little bit redundant because you're going to be getting probably water, 2 water, probably 1 water for this combat, which unless you can pick up like a Sayadina or something to use that with, it might not be that great. However, it might be great to replenish and restock if you're going to hit the research station this round or next round. So those are some things they're probably going through BlackShadow's mind. OMANT is going to play the Imperial Spy, and considering going to wealth here, is going to, and is probably going to trash it. Probably not going to trash it, actually. Wow, this is a risk. This is a risk. That's a risk. And now Secrets is online, and none of these cards in hand can be played. So Ilban could very well go to Secrets and take 2 intrigue cards, and that would be massive. That would be massive. That might be the play they need to stay in this kind of pretty brutal fight over combat. Just get up with some different factions. What's going on here? We've got some rearranging of the points. Okay. So we have 4 points for red, yellow, green, and blue is sitting at 2 at the moment. That seems right. So let's see if yellow sees it. He looks like he does. No, he's not. So yep, that is also great. I mean, I mentioned earlier that this kind of a build wants to hit selective breeding a couple times, just so that you can constantly acquire Spicemus flows. So here goes another Spicemus flow out of the deck, because the corner of the market is now actually slightly worse in this game. The intrigue card that gives you 2 points, or a point, possibly 2, if you have 2 or more Spicemus flow, or the most Spicemus flow. That card is actually worse because you are more incentivized now to trash those Spicemus flows out of your deck. It was always kind of like okay in the base game, but it's a little bit easier to trash things out of your deck now. Paul is going to hit up Swordmaster. And just to recap, Ecaz went over to Fold Space, looks like. Fold Space to Fold Space, just to keep them alive. And is going to potentially steal this alliance away. Looks like they are going to, actually. They're going to steal this alliance away, whether Duke Leto wants it or not. Here's High Council for Duke Leto. And now the restricted ordinance is online. Something that everyone now has to be aware of, that it is 4 extra combat for green, no matter what. Very surprised that no one has even paid attention to the fact that Leto is sitting on 4 intrigue cards. Maybe no one really cares anymore. No one really thinks stealing cards is has that much worth. And there's an argument for that. Another Spicemus flow for Ilban. Ilban playing the Spicemus flow game very well, I have to say. I'm impressed. Very impressed. And deciding whether he's going to use his Ix Guild Compact to put some troops up in the tech negotiation. I think you do that. I mean, I think it's mandatory. Maybe it's not. Actually, don't know if that's mandatory or not. And can trash a card in play, but may trash the X Guild. What is he going to trash? Nothing. Okay. All right. Agent of Zion's reveal turn. And, oh no, he's got an agent. So we're going to see a firm grip to conspire, looks like. Firm grip to conspire is very, very, very good here. I imagine that's what's going to happen here. We'll see a firm grip to conspire, netting a 2 troops, 5 spice, 5 Solari, excuse me, and 1 intrigue card. The other options are Mentat. Oh, Tech Negotiation. Oh, okay. I like this play even better. Go to 0. Pick up the Shuttle Fleet. Yep. Shuttle Fleet for 2 influence. That's going to take away the Spacing Guild. Oh, yep, Spacing Guild. And then the next one, where does that send you? To pay the 2 to use firm grip. I think he has to pay that. Maybe he did. Oh no, yeah. Must have paid it. Paul's playing the secrets. Paul's going to steal some. Paul is going to steal. Okay, Paul was paying attention. Paul's paying attention, and now OMANT might be kicking himself for leaving 4 in his hand. So we're going to see a shuffle and then a take. Go ahead. Gets the Bindu suspension. Bummer. That's not the best thing to see here. Would have loved to see calculated higher, actually, or the war chest. War chest, very strong. If you have 10 or more Solari, extra point at the end of the game. I think that's how you play it usually. The extra combat is fine, but last ditch effort as opposed to a first play. I think you should always default to wanting to take that extra point because points are so hard to come by, and it could be the difference between winning and losing. Okay, and now it looks like it is Agent of Zion's reveal turn for 4 purchase, and we have a Fremen camp up here. Fremen camp is pretty alluring, possibly Test of Humanity. I don't know if he even wants that. Maybe the Fremen camp. He's going to take the test. Okay. I think I like this. Each opponent chooses to discard a card or lose a deployed troop. You can just reveal it for 2 persuasion, and it gives you the access to the Bene Gesserit. I apologize if you hear my family in the background. My daughter running around asking about unicorns. All right, so we have Poison Snooper for Paul. He's going to try to see if he can get there. He does get there. 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, he's going to get 6. 3, 4, 5. Only 5. Interesting. But he gets to ship. Gets to put 3 in the combat. What a blowout. Okay. So Paul, now with the extra point due to the troop transports, very, very solid play. This early play where I was asking, why would Paul go to the interstellar shipping this round? I mean, it wasn't this round. It was the round before. He was just sitting there. I apologize, last round. And managed to trigger the freighter fleet when he drew. Freighter fleet, just a solid play, and looks like it's going to end up winning him this combat. Agent Design a little bit disappointed that happened, but I dare say we might not have. I didn't see it coming either. I missed that potential play. Very good play by Paul. Always good to see Paul Atreides doing well. And looks like that's going to do it. Paul's going to take a point. Is going to take the Imperial Basin. Still the best location to control the spice. And we're going to have a new round. Ilban's going to start it off. Showm delegate. We have our cloak and dagger for this round. 1 influence, 2 intrigue for first place. This is a tight race, and I don't think anyone is out of it at all. I think it's very close. One thing to keep in mind, though, that now that Ecaz has locked in the Spacing Guild Alliance, that they can now focus on some of these other tracks. They have a really good position for interstellar shipping to just go up and take another tech. This artillery here is looking pretty good. I don't know how many they've taken out of their deck yet. They've taken 1 dagger, 1 reconnaissance, 1 dune out of their deck, so the extra dune is nice. And not a whole lot of other daggers there. No daggers for Paul either. Again, not a really battle-heavy build for Paul or Ecaz, but looks like Leto is really kind of monopolizing combat right now and forcing players to go where they want them to go. That last combat, Leto was not involved in, of course, and so it could be fought between 2 other players who did want the point. But we'll see. I think Leto is looking very strong this game. Ecaz is looking very strong this game. I mean, they're all looking very good. Ilban is also great with basically a spice must flow every round. That should be worrisome for the players. Looks like Leto, or Ilban, excuse me, might also try to pick up the extra point with flagship. I think that might be a good way to pay for your, with your extra spice. He's pretty low on the tracks. Maybe he's hoping to pick up the tech that gives you a point for every 1 or 0 or 1 space on faction tracks. That would be a blowout card for Ilban. I think it's called Spy Satellites. Spy Satellites. Had a bit of a kerfuffle with a token that went flying across the board, but it's fixed. And we have Appropriate from AgentOfZion heading over to the shipping track. That seems very solid here. Picking up the artillery, kind of like I suggested. And maybe now some of these other sword cards in the Imperium row are looking a little bit more appealing, particularly this Fremen camp. This Guild Ambassador is game winning, so I suspect that it's going to be picked up next by Ecaz. And otherwise, it's going to force another player to just buy it for nothing, for no real profit. I mean, it's okay, it gives you some spice at this point, but the influence is all gone, so I'm not sure it's really in their best interest. And here we go with the Archduke picking up the flagship off the back of the Appropriate into the tech negotiate, or the commerce, the interstellar shipping space. Gets two purchases, one from going up and then down, and then one for the Appropriate. And that, as they say, is pretty massive. Very, very nice play. He's set up in case any Ixian engineers show up too. Ixian engineers, just solid point for Ecaz at this point. And with an 11 card deck, you'll see them very fast. Mimic Film pick up for Paul. Definitely going for Spice Must Flow builds here. We'll see. We'll see. They're going to need to catch up with Ilban, but they're already ahead of them. Catch up in terms of Spice Must Flow. We're waiting on Leto. Leto deciding whether Carthag whether to power play here. Power playing isn't bad. Power play for a point. Treachery for a point. It's a tough decision. I think I would play the power play first, seeing as how this is round 6 and round 7 is likely 7 or 8 are likely to be the last rounds. X tends to compress the turns, and you tend to get more done during them, and so the game ends a little bit earlier than it does in the base game. And so if you were like this player expecting to maybe have an extra turn to trigger treachery, you might not play it. But if this is the last round, or you might not draw it in the next round, you might just play treachery now, just to get rid of it. Thinking about treacherying to perhaps still suits, maybe to wealth. To wealth, that doesn't seem too bad, actually. Also have to note that the Leto player has only 2 agents at this moment. They don't have their Swordmaster. AgentOfZion has a Swordmaster, and the Paul player, BlackShadow, has his or her Swordmaster. A couple of tough decisions for Leto. I think here you go for the combat, but in what order do you do it? Very surprised also that Leto hasn't taken the Mentat as much as he is able to. I might just take the Mentat now. Yeah. In indecision, we are... in indecision points, I find that the Mentat is just a great place to be, just so you have an extra turn, an extra draw. You can kind of spy the board and look and see what other people are going to do. I like what Ilban's doing here, trying to get up to level 2 on each of the faction tracks, and also trigger this very important selective breeding space as much as possible. That is going to be the difference between 9 and 8 most of the time. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11 purchase, 11 persuasion for Ilban. No problems there. Trash to the Chome Delegate and gain some money. Nice synergy points. More shipping from Ecaz. Seems good. And the question becomes, does Ecaz use... Like, what is the dagger going to be used for? Are we going for the High Council this round? There's a little bit of a tension between playing the dagger for High Council versus holding on to that Solari for the next time you pick up Appropriate again. Hollow Projectors is a great pickup too, so, you know, there are some good cards out here. Invasion Ships is, I think, a little bit overrated. It's hard to... It's good. It gives you 4 troops, and it lets you go wherever you want. But if you're building for Persuasion, this card's a little bit hard to do. It's a little hard to work with. I think this card is best for Leto right now because he has too many, or he has a lot of unload cards. And that would help kind of keep those cards synergizing and keep them doing what you need to do. Leto is going to go to Carthag. Pick up a card and a point. Plans within plans. Picked up. Requiring 3 influence or more on 3 influence tracks, or on 4 for 2 points. And right now, Paul is looking like they're going to get at least 1 point from that, so that is solid. The next thoughts I have is that they need to go up with the Spacing Guild right away, because next round might be the last round. I also think that the Ecaz player is playing, Agent of Zion is playing a little defensively with the shipping track, because they saw how Paul was able to steal a combat win in that last round so easily because of the troop transports. And so that could be a reason to not even let them go up at all. And it makes a lot of sense to do it if you think of it that way. It's like, now I have a little bit of a safety net. If they do go up 2 spaces, I likely can take away the last one and they won't be able to use it, likely, unless they hit their card there that lets them reveal for a shipping. Okay, so we have Treachery played to Still Suits for 2 troops in the combat. Now green looking very scary in this combat. Oops, apologies. We have a total of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and potentially more. Very close game. Spice must flow for Ilban again. And Ilban trashing one of his 2 persuasion cards. Probably would have rather trashed something else, but doesn't have to do that. Doesn't have to do that, but he will have 5 cards, and so we'll be able to potentially trash the Spice Must Flow in his discard pile before he draws it. That would be ideal, right? Don't really want to draw that card. Has 2 more spice for 1 more selective breeding. It's Agent of Zion's reveal or agent turn, and looks like it's going to be an agent turn to High Council. None of the cards in the Imperium row are good for Ecaz's ring. Arrakis Recruiter is fine, but maybe not something they want. Maybe it is. They have artillery, so I could see that being kind of the play. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards in their deck. They could probably stand with taking an Arrakis Recruiter or maybe a Scout. It's tricky. Could also just go up to Tech Negotiation. I think going to Tech Negotiation and buying the Guild Ambassador is the correct play. Just because if you don't, someone's going to probably take it from you. And it's a potential win card. At this point, it's probably going to be worth at least a point, probably 1 point. The other things he's probably considering are, can I win this combat? The answer is probably no, but if he goes in to do this combat, he'll likely get a 2nd place, with red not holding any combat cards or any daggers. He just beats 7. And he could do that if he goes to, well, could he? He would tie. He would tie for 2nd. And he's got to be thinking that he has a very low chance of actually beating red in combat. Unless, of course, well, no, I think there really is no other option here. Just, okay, yep, okay, I like this play. Planning for next round, taking for spice, and potentially trying to pick up some more tech, or just to get more money at Conspire, possibly hit Highliner next round. kind of thinking about next round and the round after that. So he's throwing 2 in. This might be a hedge against staged incident. And I think that if you were blue and expecting a staged incident, you would see one right here. You know, you might see one from green or from red. Red could not do it, but from green. And this would be a kind of hedge against that, thus giving red the win from this combat. So I think that's a pretty good play. And if you can manage to spare the extra troops. What else might you be thinking? Maybe there's something I'm not seeing here. He could potentially play Ixian Probe, hoping to draw something better. So there's always a chance of Ixian probing away these cards, just taking the 3rd place. Yellow's already revealed, however, and is not in the combat. So I think there's zero chance that zero chance that red can, or yellow, excuse me, can jump into this combat. They are already revealed. So I think that 1 troop is probably the play, not 2. Because even if it was 1, I still don't think in staged incident happened. I still don't think you'd be able to win 2nd place. All right, so we have the Sardaukar Legion deploying 3 troops from the garrison, and now red is sitting at 11 strength. Will green contest this? Will this become a battleground? We shall see. What? Oh. Don't get any points for that. Or you get 1 point. You had the 2 influence one. Now he needs to draw an intrigue card and see what he gets. More combat. More combat. Okay. I think now we might see green play some of these combat cards to try to win it. I can't imagine that this would go unanswered. You can't leave this many intrigue cards in your hand. Or you can, I guess. It happened last time. Purchase for 6 for green. I would pick up a gurney. Surprised Gurney's been in the Imperium row so long. Although this pure Spice Must Flow build from Wooklee is, you know what? It's working. It's working. Getting the disposal facility detonation devices early for an extra point, and then just buy worms. It works. Maybe it'll get to the end. I think green is deciding whether OMANT wants to play a card here. I don't know if they do. However, they could retreat 3 troops, which actually might be a better play than playing it for combat points here. Retreat 3 troops, you'll still stay at, you'll be at 6. I don't know if that's worth it. You could retreat 2 troops. I don't know if any of these options are great. Yeah, he's going to play it for two combat. And if he wins, he gets 2 Solari. Of course, that is fine since he's holding War Chest. I think at this point, Agent of Zion's a little bit bummed out to get knocked down to 3rd. I mean, there's not much else he could have done. I think he was just, the extra troop was not necessary in this combat, but you know, taking a spice here and trying to get to Highliner next round is probably the play. Ecaz is having a little bit of trouble shifting from like creating this engine, creating this economy to actually a combat-centric build, even though they have combat-centric cards like Flagship and Artillery, which are very strong generally in combat. So I think that it's just a little unfortunate they got stuck kind of between red and green here. I think red's a little bit sitting pretty right now, honestly. If they can get that 3rd tech tile, which it looks like they might eventually. Oh, well, it's so hard to say right now, but they don't have a high council seat, but they could turn 5 Solari essentially into 2 spice if they needed to. They have plans within plans almost active. They need 1 more influence with the Emperor and 2 more the Spacing Guild. Honestly think that it's still anybody's game. This is really close. Oh, and this pickup here, bribery, helps with that plan. What a pickup. Wow. They have to be a little bit worried now. Both of these players, oh my good lord. All right, well, Agent of Zion hopefully then draws the access card. They have 2 access cards for the Bene Gesserit, and they are going to be able to basically steal 2 cards. So let's see. Let's see. Here we go. See it. Oh, doesn't get there. Oh, no. Oh, that's a bummer. Still good. Was hoping to see some fireworks, though. That kind of... Well, you know what? We have the Ixian probe, so he might go fishing for it. I would be not surprised at all if we saw an Ixian probe discarding Dune Desert Planet and Dagger in order to draw into Secrets play, because a Secrets play right here is huge. Okay, the ability to potentially snipe away a point card or a influence or a battle card. There are so many point cards in hand right now that I think you have to do that. Like, I think you Ixian probe and then hope to hit your access card. You have a 2 in 6 chance, a 1 in 3 chance. No, you have a 2 in 3. You have a better than that chance. Oh no, come on, don't do it. Oh well, all right. I'll tell him about that play next time, but I think that he maybe probably thought about it. He might be looking for a Highliner play this turn instead of just taking this kind of cute play that I would say like might be fun to do. He might not hit anything good anyway, but instead playing for the win, playing for a Highliner. And you know what? The only player with Highliner access right now is yellow. No one else has it. Fascinating. Okay. This is my favorite part of the game, when it's the last couple turns and your decks are kind of set up, and then you kind of reap the rewards of your planning, right? Because now we have some really strong cards coming out of Ecaz. We have some strong cards coming out of Paul. We have some... Unfortunately, Leto has not been able to call much of his deck. He's got a 7-12 card deck. That's not too bad. They messed out a bot very much, but a 12 card deck is actually very reasonable. Meanwhile, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for Ilban. 11 for Ecaz, and 16 for Paul. Paul's drawing through his deck fast. Really fast. And Agent of Zion opts to go for Imperial Basin for some extra spice. Picks up invasion ships, which gets him 4 more troops in the combat. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to contest that. In fact, I think that actually is better than going to Highliner. I think it's just better. I'm still surprised that we have not seen a play for secrets, but maybe we will. Maybe we will. Putting a lot of troops in here. This is like I said, reaping the rewards of your plan and seeing it all come together. It's just glorious. Look at that. Oh, wow. It's 20 power. And now everyone should be thinking, well, is he holding Staged Incident as well? Because that's 3 points. If they don't contest it. Of course, it's not right now, but you never know. Could have been. No one currently is holding Staged Incident. I've mentioned that a couple times. It's a card that says, it's a combat card that says you may kill or remove 3 of your combat troops, send them, to your supply for a point. That's all it does. What are Paul's plays here? Paul's got a lot going on actually, but not a whole lot of different symbols, which makes this a little awkward. Okay, I like the ambassador to the High Council, and we're going to see a bribery here. Yep, 2 spice also. I guess you cannot take the spice. You can go up 1 and get the point. That's probably better, actually. I think I would do that, unless you really need the spice for the extra tech. Man, and this is where you end up with, well, I think you take the bump. Yeah, you take the bump here, then you play this Counselor's Dispensation, get 2 tech, get 2 spice, yep. And then next turn, you're able to buy a tech for cheap, which guarantees you an extra point. And then I think now you just play bribery. Don't you? Or do you save it? I guess maybe you save it. It's possible that it steals a point from green. Green's got a lot of cards to play. So this might be the last round. In fact, it's kind of looking like it will be. If we're going by this being the last round, how would we get there? Green would win the combat, let's say, would also buy a Spice Must Flow, that's 3 points, or would win the combat and play Sleeper Must Awaken, or green does not win the combat, blue wins the combat, then we continue, looks like. But either way, about a point will be gained from green this turn, maybe. Well, maybe not. There's a lot of spice on the board right now. Might have to wait till the next round. That is kind of unfortunate. Play for 2nd place or 3rd place? I think you play for 3rd place in this conflict. Guarantee 3 spice. And next round, hit up Imperial Basin. Or Haga Basin. Some difficult choices, though. I think you have to be considering how you're going to get out of this secrets problem. Okay. Just calculating points. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 for that. 5. I think you should be on 5. Yep. Still really close. Green with an advantage with so many intrigue cards. Okay. Just playing Charisma. Hitting up shipping. Interesting. I think if I were green, I probably would just go up and down with that play instead of going up, because there's not really any other influence you need. Like, are you going to think about getting this alliance here? That doesn't seem super likely. Are you trying to steal this alliance? That doesn't seem super likely. Are you worried about this alliance? No one seems to want to go to these spaces right now. I think the desert planet to there is fine, but then going up and then down for the 2 spice to trigger your stuff is just a better play. And now here's a block from Ecaz. This is a big block against Paul if he goes there. A big block. Looks like he's going to. Picking up Sonic Snoopers. And now we see Memo Quarters revealed. 3 influence or more on all 4 influence tracks for a point. And that is almost a single point for green. Now red has to be a little worried about this. If they don't pick this up, I think green's going to pick it up. It's a point for them. And they're already holding an extra point in hand. So that changes the math a little bit. Red has to consider whether they go for something like that, though actually they cannot do so at this point. Just due to the fact that they don't have 3 spice. 3 Solari. I always do that. Solari and spice, I get them mixed up. There's only 1 space that lets them get tech at the moment, but they cannot access it. So big block from blue, the tech negotiation space, and I bet that they're going to talk about that. Here's a draw. Now this is smart. 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8. Looks like a spice must flow for red, which is always good. Red probably hoping that they would be able to draw an access card. They have 8 cards left, but that's not a high probability. The negotiated withdrawal here, if the red player, if BlackShadow had 3 troops, they might be able to do that and then snipe the alliance from green, something like that. That just seems like a hard ask right now. I think maybe they have a better chance next round if they play it on their last action. Play the bribery on their last action, excuse me, and then, or on the first action, the first round, or the next round. Anyway, I'm just ranting now. The dagger here for Leto. Gonna go get, wow, Swordmaster here seems like a big misplay, actually. I'd say the Swordmaster is not what you want. You probably want the, oh my gosh, okay. Goes to, he's overpaying again. I'm not going to bother this time. He can determine his, can do his own math. So OMANT overpays for the Swordmaster. Thank you. There we go. Fixed it. And just in case you're wondering, they are not listening to me. This would be a very big no-no. But the play to the Swordmaster means that currently War Chest is turned off. So maybe he's thinking about using it for combat instead. He's not really positioned to do that. Here's a memo quarters for Ilban. That just seems like a denial. This is just a denial pick. Straight up. Ilban's hoping to, I'm not sure here, maybe just grab another fold space for a point, then buy another point, and then what? They need a lot to make this work, so really this is just 2 spice for 1 intrigue. Not bad. Not bad. And their Ilban did go to the Dreadnought space. So he gets to draw a card. I thought he already did draw a card. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were just reminding him in case he didn't. All right, we have an Arrakis Liaison for Agent of Zion. Kind of a tough spot for Agent of Zion. I think this could be the Ixion Probe turn. I mean, what else are you doing? Okay. It's a Carthag turn. We get one from Carthag. He's throwing everything in here. I don't know about that. Though this cannon turrets is going to guarantee that red has nothing in this combat, which is going to be massive. Massive. That's going to be a huge spoiler. Wow. Okay, here's bribery. So Paul's playing bribery to go up with the Emperor. Interesting play. Doesn't decide to go against green. He's going to reveal. Has 8 strength. And gets a Spice Must Flow for a point. What does Leto have left to do? Leto has 1 agent, has 2 extra buys, so he has 4 extra persuasion this round. Nothing is great in the row. I think you just use that for Spice Must Flow. And I think he just reveals now. I think green just reveals, buys a Spice Must Flow, says, I'm not getting in combat this round. This is the only time you're going to really get a chance to buy Spice Must Flow. I feel like it's a mistake. Well, you could go to Arakeen and hope to hit another 2 persuasion card. But if you don't, you'll get into the combat, but is that worth it? Now green feels like they're in a really tough spot because they're gone. They have no spice, and all the cards they want to play, Sleeper Must Awaken, Calculated Higher, costs spice. Also, Leto's ability costs spice, and he's not getting any restricted ordnance powers or triggers this turn because there's no troops in the combat. So this is a tough one. That's the decision, I think. Do you go to Arakeen and try to hit an extra card that lets you buy and get into the combat? Or do you just harvest spice? I don't even know if that's worth it. Maybe it is. Just going to ship, okay. Okay. He's got triggers for shipping, 1 up on the Emperor, which puts him even with red. They are now neck and neck for that alliance. He's going to probably take the Solari, I would imagine, here. Getting halfway to the spice is worse than getting all the way for the Solari. And they're essentially the same card. Though giving spice or giving Solari to Paul might be bad here. Yep, he's taking the spice. Gosh, sorry guys. He's taking the Solari. I don't know. I said too many S words here. Solari and spice. You say them too many times, and sometimes they just run together in your brain. Ilban. Yep, what I thought he was going to do. Go Ix-Guild to Fold Space just for the point. Are we going to discard any cards here? Probably discard some cards, right? I don't see why you wouldn't discard the Spice Must Flows. Actually, no, I know why you wouldn't. He's just going to reveal. No, he is going to discard. Wow. I see. Fascinating. Okay, so Ilban is expecting there to be there's going to be one more round, most likely. Because blue's going to win this combat. And red's not going to get anything. We're going to see a cannon turrets play this round to push red out of the combat, which I think has to happen. Because if red gets 6 spice, they're hitting Highliner 100%. well, not 100%, but 5 out of 8, which is pretty close. 5 out of 8. Okay, so he's going to get rid of all... Wow, okay, so intrigue's going away. I do like this play. Sonic Snoopers to trash and put some intrigues in the bottom to draw some intrigues. This gives you a really good fighting chance to draw some good intrigue cards. Let's see what he gets. Allied Armada. Lose a troop. Gain 1 influence with the faction space whose board space you sent an agent to this turn. Doesn't work right now. Or dispatch an envoy, which will be very nice next round. So, the reveal for nothing and just an extra power. Agent of Zion sitting on 26 power strength. I am surprised by the not playing to push red out of the combat here, just because the spice acquisition is going to mean a highliner for red next round, and they're going to have first choice. So having that extra like turn to kind of get in position might be better. I'm not sure it actually will do anything if no one else has 6 spice, but yellow had a good chance of getting 6 spice, I think. Picking up Allied Armada, however, very good. Allied Armada, very good. So 8 purchase for Leto, probably not going to buy anything. Why is the Fremen camp? Okay. I don't know if that's worth it. Don't buy anything else. This is the last round. I think you just leave it. There's no Bene Gesserits in your deck. There's no synergy points. I think this is a dead Imperium row for now. Count Ilban is going to reveal for 4 purchase and 2 spice. Yeah, Ilban is going to get to 6. This is where pushing Leto out would have been, or pushing Paul out would have been beneficial to Ilban. Ilban's going to get 3 spice from the combat. Leto would have been very happy to be in this combat, and I think still, instead of using the shipping track to do what Leto did, I still think they should have gone to Arakeen to try to draw. Unless maybe it was in here. Oh no, it was in the discard pile. So unless they had another 2 persuasion card, it wouldn't have mattered, probably. We won't know for sure. So yellow looking pretty strong here. The detonation devices might happen again. Probably won't, though. And now red has to focus on the most important things. So we have to think about how each of these players can win here. So I think blue might be out of it. Agent of Zion might be out simply because, though they should be at 6 points now, they need to have 4 more points where everyone else is much closer. I think that this what's the extra point for? 7. Oh, Battle of Carthage, 2 points. Actually, no, I take that back. I think that every player has a chance of winning now. And with what we know, potential 2 points in green's hand, that means the winning this combat. Oh, actually, this is a very bad combat for green. Very bad. This is a very good combat for Ilban. It's a very good combat for Armand. This is a horrible combat for Leto. I've been in this situation before where I was holding War Chest and Economic Supremacy comes up, and you're just like, come on. You know, I can't possibly spend that much spice. Like, this is so redundant with what Leto is doing, and this is super interesting. I think this is one of my favorite combat cards that they've made, conflict cards, because of how it kind of invalidates other seemingly amazing strategies such as the Sleeper Must Awaken or the War Chest, which was in the set anyway, but there's another card that gives point for spice. And so I love the choice you have to make. Do I stockpile Spice and Solari for points? Do I just kind of limp in and try to get second place? This is such an interesting combat. And it really makes me like happy the way that the game kind of shapes out. I think it's one of the more interesting ones. It's also one of the most variable ones. So it could be worth 1 point for first place, and that sucks, you know. So we've got red, who just got a point somewhere. Emperor Alliance. So this will be the last round. And we've got Dune and Diplomacy for Wooklee. Wooklee sitting in a very good position too, but no way to take advantage of memo quarters. Probably in the best position if we were playing the base game, where this would be, you know, a pretty optimal Spice Must Flow strategy. However, with all the extra points in Leto's hand and in Paul's hands, you know, I just don't see this coming through for him. I think that this is, you know, if we get 3 points here, if Ilban ends up winning this, it's going to be off the back, of a highliner play into a spice harvesting play. But with only 2 agents, I don't see that this player is going to be able to get enough spice to get all 3 points out of this. If they get 2 points, they're going to be jumped by red or by red, most likely. Because red is sitting on how many points right now? 1, 2. This is just 1 point right now. This is 1 point right now. No, it's not even a point right now. Interesting. Red needs to find a way to get an extra point or an extra tech for this machine culture, or they're going to be in real trouble. And then this is worth a point right now. So red's sitting on 1 extra point. Green sitting on 2 extra potential points, but they need to get some spice really bad. What an interesting position. We might see a turn 10 or a 10-point tiebreaker here if no one is able to capitalize on the cards they're holding because they're so resource intensive. In Agent of Zion's hand, we have some really solid plays. We've got a potential steal. We have a steal here. We have not a steal, but a point. A point with Bene Gesserit, and then potentially another. No, just 1 point. Interesting plays. Interesting plays. I want to see what they do here. And Ilban's got to be thinking, well, how do I get 2 points? Winning the combat plus detonation devices. Does that do it? Does that do it? All right, Paul's going to play... Whoop. Apologies, everybody. You fix that. Paul's going to play Sardaukar Legion and head over to Conspire. And we mentioned that just happened, but I think got the points. We can talk about why that's important. Spending the spice here is important to know because they really want to purchase another tech, and Holo Projectors is the only 3-cost tech. It looks like they're going to get it, unless someone else goes to tech negotiation, which might be, don't know, probably not going to be Ilban. Do we see an In the Shadows play for green here, trying to get past red on the Fremen track? Not yet. It's a harvest. It is spice. Up, down. This looks like spice. Yep. Okay. Maybe a little bit of a, you know, kind of showing everyone what he's potentially got here. See, I need spice to do what I need, what I've got in hand. They know what he's purchased, and that there's not anything except for maybe the Fremen camp that uses spice, so they're probably thinking that something in hand uses spice. Here's a play to Mentat for Ilban. I like this play a lot. Mentat's going to draw 2 cards. Let's see what he gets. That's a solid play. Fold space, Signet Ring. Ooh, okay. Suddenly, I don't know who's going to win. This is pretty crazy. It's very close. So it looks like we've got a couple plays for Ilban going to some faction spaces, likely. And AgentOfZion. What do we do here? Is it ring time? Do we need our ring? I think we just use it because of the icons. Go get some troops, throw troops in. Is there any way to take advantage of the Solari? We have no water, so what do? I think you throw troops in the combat. I think that's what you do. But I'm not sure where you go. Probably Carthag. You do run the risk of getting your stuff stolen. So maybe Arakeen, just so you guarantee an extra point with Spice Must Flow. That sounds good. Getting 2 points plus a Spice Must Flow gets you to 10. I really want to hear what AgentOfZion is thinking in his head, because this is not an easy turn. He has 8 persuasion in hand currently. You have to commit somewhere. Question is how? How do you commit? You commit to combat. Hope Red's hand is garbage. Do you commit to Spice Must Flow? Do you go Council, Spice Must Flow? Okay, we're going to be discarding. Oh, he's not sure. I think the discard so you can hit up the shipping track is also probably the best play. That might be what he's thinking here. Yep. Okay. Yep, shipping track. All right, here we go. Up and down. Yep, up and down. All right. Which means influence. That's a point. So where's the influence going? Yep, Bene Gesserit. That's solid. This is going to be a tight finish. Very, very close. Now, blue sitting on 8 points. Deciding what else to do. Got 2 troops. Deciding whether he wants Spice or Solari. I think you take the Spice here. He's rewinding it, rethinking. It's a tough turn. I don't envy this turn. I want to see what he does though. What is the play? Because I think that was a good. Oh. Was on the first space. Yep. Just to make sure everyone has rewound it and knows where it is. Diplomacy instead. Do we go to secrets? No, we go to still suits. Interesting. Putting a troop in. Losing a troop. Getting a point. Ah, I see the play here. All right, here we go. We get 1 point with Fremen. We then guarantee 1 point with the shipping track later with the play he just made. That's 2 points. And then hoping to get second place for 3 points? No, I don't even know if he's going to be able to do that. Oh, he can here. Yes, he can. Here we go. Troops in. 5 troops, I think. No, 4 troops. 3 troops. Pardon me. 3 troops. I know what this card does. All right, and then next turn you can see the play already. He just did it for you. Discarding the convincing argument, playing the signet ring up to the interstellar shipping in order to get 2 troops a bump, which is going to be another point, and potentially winning second place in this combat. He's going to take the spice and have the extra combat to win this combat. So second place in the combat, that will get him to 10. That'll get him to 10. That's going to be a close one. What a close fight. And I'm sorry I missed this last one. A signet ring from Paul sent him over to, where am I missing it? Up to tech negotiation, got his tech. I did mention that that was the last tech he was able to buy that is necessary. Holtzman engine, suddenly a path for Ilban to get another point. What do you do? That's a guaranteed point. Ooh, tough choices. All right, so I think Ilban now decides to go for Holtzman. Or does he just throw troops into combat? Oh, well, let's see what he does. Because right now, winning a point is not... Well, it's a point for 6 or a point for 6. It's maybe a point for 6. And it's maybe a point. Or it is 100% a point for Holtzman. We'll see. Here he goes, Holtzman engine. Gonna draw a card. Draw another card because he's Ilban. Gets Holtzman for 4 or maybe... Yep. For 6. Sorry. Worth a point. And then we have spy satellites. That's the one he wanted right there. Wishes he could take that one. Because that's worth 2 points for him right now. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well. What do you do? What is the play? All right, here's that play I mentioned from AgentOfZion, going up to interstellar shipping, going up and going down. I don't think, this is his best shot. 4 points. And they are playing for second place, I should mention. This is table 1, round 2, and we're still advancing 2 players. So the top 2 advance. And this is quite the tooth and nail fight. We have red and blue neck and neck, with yellow just behind, who is sitting on an extra point, can buy to get to 10 points. Who's going to have the spice for the tiebreaker? I'm sorry if I'm shouting into the microphone. I'm excited. This is an excellent game. Excellent game. We have red is still missing out on a point here, but I think the play for red, so if a red's got to go to fold space, last action, which doesn't feel great, but it gets him a point. He's already sitting on 1 point from plans within plans. It gives him 2 points with that, so that might actually be the game. If yellow is shrewd enough to go to fold space to block plans within plans, I would just flip the table. I wouldn't actually do that, but it would be quite a real dick move. I guess it is red's turn anyway. So here's the fold space play for the extra point, and I think that is simply the best thing that Paul can do. I think Paul might take this game. It is still uncertain. Green sitting on a lot of combat points in hand. Blue sitting on 7 combat points in hand. Green with 11 potential. I'm not going to get the extra point. Green, I think, out of this. Green, unfortunately, then sort of got stuck without any spice. And now needs to decide. I don't think you can't take the Mentat. It's not there anymore. So what do you do here? Okay. Going to Carthage. We're getting more stuff. And there's Staged Incident, which I mentioned earlier was potentially a thing. We have an extra point taken away from red. Green is now back into it. What the heck? Red loses a point. Green gains a point. Suddenly, it is again anyone's game. Green can get to 10. You know what? Green and blue. Can blue get to 10? Yes, second place. Now, I think we're going to see... I don't know if yellow even plays that, to be honest. What are they going to do? They're going to get a point from wealth. Okay, they can get a point from wealth and then buy. That's to 10. Is that the best they could do? Seems kind of miserable. They could potentially try to bully blue out, but it's not going to work. He's having a tough time deciding, and I would have a tough time deciding too. It's just going to get wealth. It's going to go up. That brings 2 players to 9 points. 1 at 8, 1 at 7. The player at 7 sitting on a potential 2 points in hand. And suddenly, is this a secrets play? No, it's a draw play. I should have played the secrets. Should have played the secrets. Let's go. Play the secrets. Draw people's cards. No, no one's going to. All right. Let's see, fold space to Arakeen. That doesn't help. But it gets a couple other troops in the combat, which means that blue is looking very dangerous with 12 base strength, 7 more potential, which is going to be 100% played, 17 total strength. Red with nothing in the combat, and no buy, but 2 extra points. So red's going to end up 10 points. No, 3 extra points. So red's going to end at 11 points. Can they beat that? If blue wins, blue will be at 11 points with the tiebreaker at 1 spice. Wow. Okay. If green wins this combat, he's not playing anything. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I mean, yellow is signaling that green has been holding 6 intrigue cards in hand. All right, and yellow buys another Spice Must Flow for 10 points and is now at 11 with the Holtzman engine, because they have 4 or 5 Spice Must Flow in this game. This one's not going to trigger. Memo Quarters isn't going to happen. They didn't get there, but Holtzman engine for a point, which means they're at 11. Blue, if blue wins this, if red goes for it, or if green goes for it and tries to get an extra point, I think I don't even know. So I think that green's going to play spoiler here, unfortunately, and then blue's going to get a point and finish 3rd. Blue's going to finish third, and it's going to be yellow and red advancing. Okay. So now green has the most. And are they thinking about playing their troop? They should probably play staged incident here. That would be the smart play because there's no one else in the combat. It's the same. It's actually better for you because blue cannot capitalize on the economic supremacy win condition of 6 extra Solari for a point or 4 extra spice for a point. There's no way they could do that. And so I think you play staged incident now and win second place. You win second place, you're essentially getting 2 points. I don't see why you don't do that. We'll see what they choose to do. That's it. No? Wow. No, he's deciding. I don't believe he doesn't play staged incident here. It's simply an extra point. You're still going to get the same thing. You get second place, which is a point, which is the same as blue's going to get. Just play staged incident, man. Just play it. Just do it. Play staged incident. It's driving me nuts. Come on, just play it. It's not that hard. He's thinking about whether he needs to win it, but he doesn't need to think about winning it. He needs to think about how much that blue's going to profit from it, which is none. He's not going to profit from it at all. So I think 100% you play staged incident here. You get 2 points. You go to 9. You reveal one more. You go to 10, and that is as good as you're going to get. And then red and yellow are going to reveal, go to 11. And then yellow is going to take it for 1 spice tiebreaker. And we can see this already happening before our very eyes. We have 3 points here. We have 1 point here. We have 1 point here. So we know all of the hidden points. Yellow is going to go up 1. That's not a card you can play anymore. So it's this one. You can play this. That's it. Yellow wins it. That's 3 points for red. Wow. That was an insane game. Wow. And what a tight fight. Look at this score. It's so close. This Spice Must Flow plan by Count Ilban. Look at that. That was fought against a very well high persuasion build from Paul Atreides, who fought in some good fights. I think made a couple of choices that could have been different here or there. Obviously, this turn going to conspire to get the point here was fine. But not being able to send guys to the conflict was a little bit problematic, right? Not being able to do that hurt a little bit. Wow, what a crazy game. I joined the chat. All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time. Take care.